Hey, right, it's Chris over at Dixieland Farm, and today's Christmas. Merry Christmas. I'm sure you're watching this like more than a month or two later, but that's just the way it is. It's Christmas Day, and people are taking care of the farm for us. We still have to do some chores, but they're cleaning the barn and stuff. So I get to do what I want, and what I want to do is fly an X-Plane. And one of the Secret Santa gifts that we had for the cousins was I got a gift card to the X-Plane store. So I got a new plane. I got the BN-2 Islander, and this airplane is quite the little gem here. So you can see we got pretty crummy weather in Statesville, which we do in real life. So this is a 9-seater, 9 seats inside the plane. This is meant to ferry people across to islands and remote locations. It's also a cargo plane, agricultural plane, firefighting plane. It's a little rugged guy. It is still in production today. They made about, I don't know, 1,200 of them, but it's been in production for, I don't know, like 50 or 60 years. It's been a while. And the airplane is a twin engine general, you know, aircraft kind of plane, but it's, similar in stature to like a Dash, which I'm very comfortable in. So it's somewhere in between a Cessna and a Dash. I've done 3 flights in it. I've actually done one video here, but I didn't like it, and I thought it was boring. This may be less boring. So we are here. The engine's already on. I'm going to double check. So 3022, so let's get that dialed in, 3022. And basically the flight I did earlier was Winston-Salem to Statesville, North Carolina, and now we're just going to go backwards. And we are going to be trying to beat the weather. If you look outside, it does not look great. If we go ahead and take a look on the flight plan here, you can see with the weather overlay, it's not so great. And we're coming down here. So yeah, broken at 2,700 feet. So it's gonna be tight, but let's challenge ourselves. We are live on VATSIM right now, and so I've got my little flight plan registered. At any moment, we could change the weather to bright and sunny, but let's go ahead and give ourselves a slight challenge in this airplane. And you can see up, the rain's coming down now, so let's go ahead and make sure our lights are on. They are. Get our taxi light on and come up top, and let's go ahead and get flaps. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. And also, by the way, you may hear that it's real quiet. This aircraft has got noise canceling, so this is what it would sound like without the noise canceling on. But just so you can hear me better. Statesville traffic, this is Islander 5522 Lima at the FBO. We'll be taxiing runway 10 for a eastbound departure, Statesville. I'm not sure if it's called the Islander or not, but that's what I've been calling it. In America, what you would do is you would identify the manufacturer, but BN, it's like, it's a British, 2 different people. Nobody knows what the plane is, but I think people would know what an Islander is. So also, you would say Skyhawk instead of Cessna, right? Because that could be like a whole bunch of different airplanes. So you'd say Skyhawk 5522 Lima. So I'm going with Islander at the moment until I'm corrected or find out better. So by the time I publish this, I probably will watch a couple of videos and realize, oh no, I'm quite off. Oh well, what can you do? So we're just taxiing slowly here. Like I said, I'm real comfortable in this airplane. I've only flown it 3 times, and they've been short flights. So one was just a quick trip around the pattern in Asheville, and next was this flight. Found out a couple of things, did a couple of tweaks. I feel a little bit more comfortable, and figured let's show off what I'm doing, and you can see, if I make a mistake. But that's all part of learning an aircraft. A nice feature of this aircraft is you can click anything and pop it out, that's kind of cool. So as we get ready to line up on the runway, I'm going to hold short here for just a second and go through a flow real quick. But one of them is to make sure that our elevator trim is in the right spot, and we're going to come up top here. Our flaps for takeoff. We got our fuel pumps on. Fuel's all good. Everything's good. Engines are all good, so I think we're ready to go. Statesville traffic, this is Islander 5522 Lima, taking runway 10 for a straight out departure. Statesville. Alright, so I made my call. Landing strobes. Turn our taxi off. Nobody's coming. And because it's Christmas, nobody's here. Let's get on the runway. So I haven't really studied the speeds too much, but because blue line's 80, that's what I've been doing my rotate at. It's probably just slightly before 80. And let's go ahead and increase engine power. Kind of holding my nose down. Airspeed is alive. I can see the speed is increasing. And there's 60 knots. 70. And let's go ahead and rotate. There we go. Gear does not go up. It actually stays. It's stationary. So we're just going to kind of crab slightly into the wind here because we're being blown off course just slightly. There we go. So dipping our wings so we can stay straight. Let's go ahead. So normally I would do 4,500 feet, and I probably should amend my flight plan. Let's say 3,000 and resend out my flight plan, which I'm doing on the other screen here, because yeah, I don't think I want to be any higher than 3,000. Got some rain. We're going to be headed towards Statesville there. And let's go ahead and raise our flaps. My manifold pressure is just low in general. I'm going to assume that's carburetor icing. Yeah, look at that. So I'm certainly not used to a carbureted engine because I was at idle on the ground for so long. I had carburetor icing. So there we go. There's my power. Now that we're up, we can go ahead and turn that off. But we got rid of the carburetor icing. There goes our speed. And let's level off here. How cool is that, everybody? Alright, so we're flying over 77 right now, and over there is Interstate 40, so that's what we're going to be following. You can see we've got clouds right at 2,500 feet, so now what I'm trying to do is level off and get us at 2,500 feet before I fly into the clouds. So coming down, like I said before, it's a scud runner, right? So we got a little bit of a cloud just to the left of us, so I'm kind of aiming towards that little open space so I can still see the ground. And yeah, we're actually going to have to come down to maybe even 2,000 feet. Oh, there we go. Now, the one nice thing is this airplane does have de-icing boots and stuff like that, so I could fly through this without worrying about icing and things like that. But I'm going to keep it strictly VFR, so that way it's more interesting for us. Because we are below 3,000 feet of we're less than 3,000 feet above ground level, I can kind of pick any altitude I want. We don't have to stick to the standards of even and odd in direction, plus or minus 500 for VFR. So keeping at 2,500 here should do just fine. And one thing I will do is I will decrease the RPM, make it a little quieter for the people. And I'm trying to find out where that gauge is. Where is that gauge? First I gotta keep up with what I'm doing. That's right. There's the gauge. It's right in front of me. It's this guy right here. So I put it into the green arc. See, it's gotten quieter. And then this is the engine temperature. So I'm going to decrease my mixture. Look for the peak. Right there. So now I've leaned out my engine. One of the things that I need to play with here, right, is in the back. Let's go ahead and get our passenger signs on. Got to get used to doing that. 10 statute miles, but broken at 2,700 feet, and that's fine. We're at 2,700 feet. And the wind is 090 at 6 knots. Go ahead and put our map in. Let's go ahead and put in the airport, KINT. And so at 6, we probably want to land on runway 4. Another sanity check here is with this gauge here. I'm pointing it to runway 4, and that'll kind of tell me, okay, this is the runway, and I can orient myself around just on that. People who complain that X-Plane does not look good obviously aren't doing what you need to make it happen, and all you need is Sim Heavens X America, and that adds all the footprints to the buildings, so that's why that density looks correct. And from altitude, they don't look bad at all. When you start coming down to it, you go, oh, that just looks like a little Lego block. But from up here, where you're supposed to be flying, they look fantastic. And of course, big industrial buildings look exactly the way they should up here. And yeah, I am using ortho, but a lot of that is covered up by the buildings. So you can get away without running ortho. Because this is the area that I live in, I like it, but you don't have to. And I'm using a tree product here. This is called Extreme Trees. It's because I already purchased it. Most people purchase Global Forest, which also does the same thing, and that basically puts the trees in the exact location where they should be. So that gives you the proper density, and also you get the little buildings popping through where it clears out, so it's just a little bit better. And so you might be asking me, Chris, what's the what are we doing once we get into Winston? That's an excellent question. We are taking Business 40 and taking that up, and then we should see the airport, because the airport is right off of Business 40 and 52. I just have to keep an eye out for it. It says that we're aimed basically right towards it. Should be dead ahead. So, well, the blinking light certainly helps. We're just kind of slowly coming down. Got my airspeed nailed. Probably could come in a little faster, but it being dusk and whatnot. And we'll make one final call. Smith Reynolds traffic. This is Islander 5522 Lima on short final for runway 4. Full stop. Smith Reynolds. And this is exactly what it looks like, by the way, because the road that's right in front of us, 52, you can see the airport's like right there. So it's really cool with all the lights and dusk and everything just happening. So I'm trying to get us in here. Alright, so now I gotta just pay attention to what I'm doing. And also cool on X-Plane, you see the runways are not completely straight. So, well, that was my fault. Too much. Come on, down, down, down. There we go. Always at the last minute, I start doing other stuff. Alright, so. And I pulled up just too much, and that was my fault, and so that's why we had a kind of a harder hit than we should have. But other than that, that's just beautiful, huh? Wow. That's a screenshot if I've ever seen one. So looking at the flight, we did perfect, right? We just followed basically in, and then we saw Winston, and we just went for it. And the airport was right there in front of us. So did everything perfectly. I love this airplane. It's a new airplane for me. It's I don't play with a lot of new airplanes. I used to have a lot of planes in my hangar, and I wasn't just great at all of them, so I started narrowing it down. But this is going to definitely be in my repertoire, and definitely in my hangar. It's so much fun. It's definitely what I'm comfortable with. It feels sort of like a Dash, but it's not quite the Dash, right? Because it's not even made by de Havilland. But it's similar with that high wing and the way the engines are and the struts, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to flying this plane a lot more. It's got a little bit of pep. It's not by any means, a fast plane, 180 knots, 170 knots max, so we're closer to 120 to 150 at cruise, but just a lot of fun. And it's going to be fun doing these little regional jaunts in something that's more than just a private plane. So, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Take Land Farm. Merry Christmas.